duty, honor, country. Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
What I just played is General Douglas MacArthur saying words, really, really powerful words, important words that now, because of reasons that really haven't been made clear yet, have been dropped from West Point's mission statement. Duty, honor, and country has now been replaced by the ambiguous and may as well be meaningless words, Army values. In a letter that he tried to explain it, the Lieutenant General Steve Gillen said, "Our responsibility to produce leaders to fight and win our nation's wars requires us to assess ourselves regularly." Which, yeah, I mean, that sounds great, and I couldn't agree more, but I have to wonder, how is it possible that in assessing the Army and its needs, anyone could find it necessary to remove the words duty, honor, and country, which have been a part of West Point for generations and generations? I mean, if anything, I can understand adding to those words, but I can't understand why you'd take them away. And let's read from the article and see if we can't figure this out together, what exactly Army values might mean. The U.S. Military Academy at West Point has made the decision to remove duty, honor, and country motto from its mission statement. Officials stress that the phrase would remain West Point's motto, however, that the mission statement has changed on a regular basis. This new mission statement is West Point's 10th since 1925. I don't know, 10 in 100 years does not exactly seem like a regular basis to me, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Duty, honor, country hadn't been included as part of the mission statement until 1998. In a letter sent to students and supporters, Superintendent Lieutenant General Steve Gillen said the phrase would be replaced in the mission statement with words, Army values. Our responsibility to produce leaders to fight and win our nation's wars requires us to assess ourselves regularly, he wrote in a letter to cadets and supporters on Monday. Thus, over the past year and a half, working with leaders from across West Point and external stakeholders, not sure who that is, probably government handlers, we reviewed our vision, mission, and strategy to serve this purpose. So apparently, duty, honor, and country no longer fits the vision or mission of West Point. As a result, we recommend the following mission statement to our senior Army leadership to build, educate, train, and inspire the Corps of Cadets to be commissioned leaders of character committed to Army values and ready for a lifetime of service to the Army and the nation. He says the new mission statement binds the Academy to the Army. He clarified that the patriotic phrase always remain in the school's motto. Duty, honor, country is foundational to the United States Military Academy's culture, yada, yada, yada. You know, it's all a little ambiguous, and it leaves me wondering what exactly are Army values and where exactly does accountability fall in the hierarchy of these values. And I'm guessing not too high, because as it stands right now, you know, military-wide, still today, the only people held accountable for anything even remotely related to our Afghanistan surrender are Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller, who dared call out the disaster, and a Gold Star father who was arrested and charged with a crime when he interrupted Joe Biden speaking about how safe we all are under his watch. And the father's only goal, I believe, was to make sure that the rest of us don't forget about his son's death, even as it appears that the military and the political creatures that control it already have, and really want the rest of us to as well. If that's what West Point means by Army values, then we're in even worse shape than I thought. But maybe that's not Army values at all. Maybe this is Army values.
First of all, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that, because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed...
It's been a long time since I watched that, man, but this is indicative of just how effed we are. A guy who rose to general in the United States Army thinks that it is somehow important to the defense of the free world that he understand white rage. And I looked that up, man. I've heard other complete and total crazy people use the term. And I'll be honest, man, when I hear crazy people say crazy things, I don't generally listen. But when I hear a guy who really is responsible in a lot of ways for the national defense of our country use the same language as Antifa gender studies majors, well, that gets my interest a little bit. That perks my ears. So I looked it up. And according to the internet, it's not even a real term. It's not in any dictionary. It's a book written by a black Emory University professor about white people and about the politics of white grievance. And honestly, if you research this stuff, man, it's like a shell game of knowledge. White rage led to the term white backlash, which led to white grievance, which apparently means the negative response of some white people to racial progress. And it's news to me that this entire industry of race-baiting grifters is focused on only some white people. I thought they were mad at all of us. And I think what they really mean by some is Republican white people. But anyway, nothing gives a clear definition that the esteemed General Milley appears to know. So I figured, it's 2024. I'll ask ChatGPT. And this is what ChatGPT says. White rage typically refers to the phenomenon where some white individuals express anger of resentment towards social or political changes that they perceive as threatening their status or dominance. This term gained prominence in the discussions about racial dynamics and inequalities, particularly in the context where there's a perceived shift in power dynamics or social norms. It's often associated with resistance to advancement in racial equality and diversity initiatives. Yeah, so ChatGPT doesn't even have a fucking clue what the hell that shit means. But anyway, amazing when you really break it down. I mean, it's just amazing. But I don't know, maybe that's Army values. And if that's the case, I guess that means that we should expect more and more people to go to the Air Force Academy, which I'm sure they're going to have to move because it's in the whitest of white places of all, Colorado Springs, Colorado. But maybe they still believe in duty, honor, and country.
General Clark, an Air Force Academy professor, wrote a Washington Post op-ed that she proudly teaches critical race theory at the Air Force Academy. I want to read to you some quotes from the leading proponents of this ideology, because I don't think Americans know truly how divisive and destructive this ideology is. One of them we have here: a positive white identity is an impossible goal. White identity is inherently, because of the skin color apparently, is inherently racist. White people do not exist outside the system of white supremacy. This isn't 100, 200 years ago. This is today. This does not mean that we should stop identifying as white and start claiming to be some other type of race. To do so is to deny the reality of racism in the here and now. This isn't a way of thinking or a history class. This is present-day indoctrination. And this denial, to deny all of that, would be colorblind racism. So rather, this author strives to be less white and therefore less racially oppressive because of his privilege. That's from the author of White Fragility. General Clark, do you agree with that statement?
Sir, what I will tell you is you mentioned our instructor who talked about teaching.
It's currently still teaching at the Air Force Academy, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Who talked about teaching about critical race.
Do you agree with that statement? I only have 2 minutes left for the American people to ask you these questions.
Well, sir, I'd like to talk about your question about critical race theory and the instructor, if that's okay first.
Very quickly, please. But first, do you agree with that? I mean, you're the leader of the institution. There's faculty members on your staff. Do you agree with that type of sentiment?
Sir, that's not what she was espousing. She was not indoctrinating.
White Fragility is a leading book in the critical race theory mantra of books and thinking.
Yes,
It's
sir.
very
She was
representative.
encouraging the discourse on the topic, the civil discourse, so that our cadets could
Would
understand
you encourage
how
someone who
to
says they're
think.
teaching white supremacy to have that discourse?
Sir, we encourage all civil discourse
I
so
think
that
it
our
should be
cadets can
limited
learn
in-
how to think.
Right, at a Cal Berkeley, fine, but in an institution that's teaching our leaders to defend future military members, to die for civilian institutions that are being described as inherently racist and a class of people because of their skin color, that's offensive. That runs against your priorities.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. We're teaching critical thinkers, though, and we want
That's
our
offensive
cadets.
thinking.
We
That's
want our
racist.
cadets.
Respectfully, that's racist thinking, but just
I'm not.
so that we're clear, this was a speaker that was at
So that's a long clip, right? But I think that that's an important one, right? We have generals that can hear a statement like that and just not bring themselves to say that it's racist, or that even that they disagree with it, or that those are not the sort of values that they're preaching and teaching America's fighting forces. And that is just freaking amazing to me, man. And look, I know that a lot of people are going to view these things like a changing mission statement as small things, inconsequential, doesn't even matter, shouldn't have even made the video, right? But that's why I showed these other videos, because it's all related and it's all important. And, when some unknown forces start manipulating language that has been a part of the ethos of West Point since basically the beginning, then that's something we should pay attention to. That's only the beginning. And all that is just liberal forces just seeing what they can get away with, seeing what they can change and how quickly they can change it. A few words here, a few ideas planted there, and the next thing you know, you've got 2 segregated national anthems at the Super Bowl. And if you speak out against it, you're a dangerous white racist that even the race hustlers making millions can't fully describe. But amazing stuff, man. And we are in real freaking trouble, because no matter what your views are, they don't belong in a place meant to prepare our future warriors for war, to protect us. I mean, like the senator said, maybe at UC Berkeley, but not in a military university. But that's just my take, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.